Welcome to Bastion Time. I am your host, Bastion. This is Nintendo News. Let's get to that news, shall we? First of all, we learned all kinds of interesting tidbits about Breath of the Wild, and things that were considered, were never considered, things we thought would be in it but aren't, so let's get straight to that. First of all, Mr. Aonuma said, despite all speculation, VR was never really an option. And he doesn't think even in the future VR for The Legend of Zelda is an option. He says The Legend of Zelda is all predicated on Link being the hero, and again, so many mixed messages from the Zelda team about this topic that we could do a whole 10-minute debate video about whether Link is an actual character or not. But anyways, he says that the point is Link is the hero, so you have to be able to see Link, so you can't do VR, because then you'd just be looking through Link's eyes. Now, again, this flies in the face of the whole original conception of The Legend of Zelda, which is that little 8-bit pixel guy on the screen is not a specific character, he's just your digital representation. Of course, we moved way beyond that. Link now is definitely a character, so much so that in Breath of the Wild, he's 100% called Link. You have no ability to change that whatsoever. So VR, in Mr. Aonuma's opinion, is not possible because you have to be able to see the main character of the Zelda series. And that's, of course, not necessarily true. Because you can have a VR experience where you're just sort of like following behind Link. You still see him, same like you would do in like Skyward Sword or Breath of the Wild style. But anyways, the point is, definitely no VR in Breath of the Wild, which of course we already knew, and going forward, sounds like never will The Legend of Zelda have any sort of VR. We also learned that, yes, EPONA is in Breath of the Wild, and you can find her. As far as how you go about finding her and acquiring her and stuff, no information whatsoever, but that's good. So if you want to hold out hope and not worry with any of those other horses and just try to find EPONA, good luck to you. Our next story is about the fact that Breath of the Wild will include voice acting in all cutscenes. Not just picking and choosing some cutscenes here and there, but according to Mr. Aonuma, every single cutscene will have voice acting. This is completely different than anything we've experienced before in a Zelda game, so it's going to be very interesting. I mean, even Hyrule Warriors had voice acting, but it did have certain characters or certain scenes where that wasn't voice acted, so this is going to be brand new for us. One thing that seems very strange to me, as we all assumed, of course, HD Rumble, this big new feature that Nintendo is bragging about the Switch having, of course that's going to have something, we're going to be able to utilize that in some kind of way in Breath of the Wild, and Mr. Aonuma says, actually no, we didn't get a chance to really put that in. If we do another Zelda game for the Switch, we definitely will, but Breath of the Wild doesn't have it. Which is very strange to me, because this is... every Zelda game has always tried its darndest to sort of utilize whatever the brand new feature of the console was, and then make that a big thing in that Zelda game. And in this instance, it's almost like they willfully ignored the features of the Switch. I mean, for the very good reason that it originally was a Wii U game. So, I mean, they didn't really take the Switch version into mind, I guess, until like very late into development. But even Twilight Princess, which originally was meant to be a GameCube game, but released on the Wii first, took Wii features and made those a big deal in Twilight Princess, which wasn't meant to be for the Wii, it was supposed to be GameCube. So you would have thought they would have done the same thing with Breath of the Wild for the Switch, but nope, no HD Rumble in Breath of the Wild. And then the next story is, I don't consider a spoiler, but I've learned from last week that things that I don't consider spoilers, other people might consider spoilers, so I'm just going to say up front that this concerns a feature that Nintendo has not revealed about Breath of the Wild, but that other people have noticed and pointed out from screenshots and whatnot, and so it gets into that a little bit. So if you don't want to know anything that Nintendo themselves have not yet released, but still is public knowledge because it's very easy to see in the footage they have released, go ahead and skip the rest of this video. My feelings will not be hurt, but I'll give you a 3-second count to go ahead and hit pause or stop or whatever in case you're really busy right now and you have to dash over to the computer. So 3, 2, 1, spoiler time begins now. So basically, there's a recovering memories theme in Breath of the Wild. And this is supposedly utilizing the Master Sword in some kind of way. Somehow the Master Sword itself helps you recover memories, because of course the idea here in Breath of the Wild is you are a Link who previously existed 100 years ago, and you were put to sleep on purpose to wait out some sort of 100-year period. It's sort of like Ocarina of Time, let's be real here. They're kind of stealing their own idea, where Link had to be put to sleep for 7 years so that he could come back as an adult. Well, in this instance, he already was an adult, but he was put to sleep so that they could wait out 100 years because of some reason that we don't know yet, but that he wakes up completely void of his memories, which is a problem. So he's recovering them throughout the game, and basically we learn some really interesting details about that memory recovery process. Again, maybe you don't want to know any of this, maybe you didn't hit the stop on the video and still don't want to know details about this kind of thing, so that's fine. You can go ahead and click the link down below if you do want to know more details. I'm not going to spoil anything else. I'm trying to avoid these kinds of spoilers myself, so I didn't even read in depth what this link down below talks about, but basically people have noticed from screenshots different things, and things like the Master Sword is not just called the Master Sword, but it's called the Master Sword of Resurrection, and things like that. So anyways, the point is, if you want to read more about this, there's a link down there. I'm not going to get into it. That should be good. Anyways, that's it for this episode of Nintendo News. See you guys in a couple days for more news. Bye, guys.